This story happened to me when I was 16. My grandma came from a small taiga village, where by the time I last visited, only 12 houses were still inhabited. There were 6 children in her family. They all moved to different cities across the vast Soviet Union. It ended up that only one of Grandma's sisters stayed in the village to live permanently. We used to visit that magical place every summer. Majestic pine trees, a winding clear river, the sounds of nature, and all the charm of village life. Then one day, Grandma came to visit us and told my mom she planned to go see Gaia. That's her sister's name. She said, "We're getting old. Who knows when we'll see each other again?" Hearing that, I started begging Grandma to take me with her. First of all, my parents had just started building a cottage that summer, and I really didn't want to spend it mixing cement, passing bricks to drunk builders, and inhaling dust. Second, why not spend 2 weeks fishing, riding horses, breathing forest air instead of dust and sweat? Besides, Aunt Galia's neighbors usually had their grandson Jaeger over for summer. We'd met a couple of times, got along just fine. Seemed like a great escape. To my surprise, Mom agreed without a fight. And just like that, I was on a bumpy old bus, squeezed between my grandma and our bags, sweating in the heat, clutching a plastic grocery sack with snacks. The ride took 10 hours, 10 long, shaky hours on broken roads. But finally, we arrived. And I'll say this, the welcome was first class. Everyone in the village showed up, like it was some kind of festival. They cried, laughed, toasted, and sang. They sang those old songs, like From Afar the Long Road Winds by Zikina. Nostalgic, kind of haunting, but my mood crashed the second I found out Jaeger wasn't coming that year. So now I had to entertain myself for 2 whole weeks. Aunt Galia's house was bigger than I expected. They gave me a room in the far end. As soon as I hit the bed, I passed out cold. Didn't even change. Straight into dreamland. Slept like a rock. I woke up strangely refreshed. The window was open and the air smelled so sweet. Wild herbs, dew, pine. Even the grumpiest pessimist would have smiled. From the kitchen came laughter, dishes clinking, voices chatting. I got dressed quickly, went out to greet them, and that's when I saw him, Aunt Galia's son. How could I forget Uncle Vitya? He was a forest ranger, spending part of each summer at his mother's place. Uncle Vitya was a good man. He knew the forest like the back of his hand. Grandma used to tell us stories about him, and Jaeger and I always listened wide-eyed. We shook hands tight, exchanged lines like, "Look how tall you got, and how's life been?" After breakfast, he asked if I wanted to go hunting. Of course I said yes. Why wouldn't I? We were headed to an old hunting cabin, about 15 kilometers deep into the woods. We packed up quickly and set off. At first, the walk was easy, even with the sun breaking through the tall tree canopy. It stayed cool under the shade, the smell of pine, the bird song. Everything felt alive. It was like walking through a different world. We stopped by a river to fish, caught 3 pikes, enough for a solid fish soup. Honestly, it felt like paradise. Pure silence, cold water, green shadows everywhere. You could forget the world out there existed. But after a while, the exhaustion kicked in. For those who've never been in real taiga, this isn't like the forest you see in movies. It's wild, it's rough, you fight for every step. There's no trail, just fallen trees, sharp branches, hills that rise and drop suddenly. One minute you're climbing, the next sliding down, everything grabs at your clothes and face. By evening, we reached a wide field. Uncle Vitya stopped and said, "The cabin's just beyond that clearing." I was so relieved. I ran into the tall grass, but he held me back. "Better go around," he said, calm but firm. I didn't get it. What's the big deal about grass? So I argued, told him geometry proves straight lines are fastest. Why take the long way? But he wouldn't budge, said, "Trust me, it's better this way." I was annoyed, but followed. He tried to chat, but I made it clear I was pissed. I sulked in silence. He walked beside me, quiet too. Then he said, "This field. They used to harvest hay here, whole village would gather." Each house had a section. It was all fair, divided by the village elder. One year, he said, "Your grandma and I thought we were shorted." It was the day we saw her. We were stacking hay when we noticed her, a girl working alone on a nearby patch. She was fast, made 3 stacks while we were finishing one. "Whose section is that?" your grandma asked. "It's the elder's daughter," I said. "She's alone today. But that grass, look at it. So thick, so tall." We kept working, but then she started yelling, waving at us, calling us over. Your grandma went to check. I stayed. Time passed. And then she came back, pale as chalk. She told me. I followed her. She kept walking, waving me on, deeper and deeper, right to the edge of the forest. Then she just stopped. She was smiling, just standing there, right at the tree line. And I don't know why, but I froze. Something felt wrong. I didn't go in. "And then what?" I asked, already leaning in, feeling a chill down my back. "Nothing," he said. We kept working, pretending it didn't happen. Next thing, she's back in her patch, raking hay like nothing happened. Then again, she calls us over. Same waving, same shouting. I told your grandma, ignore her. She must have gotten too much sun. So we finished our section, but when we looked again, she was gone. Just gone. Back in the village, your grandma ran to the elder's house. Wanted to ask Polina, what was she calling for? I stayed behind, unhitching the horse. Then she came back, shaken. "Vitya," she said, her voice cracking. "It wasn't her. It wasn't Helena." I laughed. "What are you saying?" "She left this morning, with her father, to the city." That's when it hit me. Something had mimicked her, perfectly, same clothes, same face, same voice, but she was never there. We tried to move on, told ourselves it was a joke or a dream, but a week later, the elder and his daughter returned. Hadn't been back until that moment. No one else saw anything after that, at least not during hay season, but people started talking. They said they'd seen things, people they knew, people they didn't, sometimes themselves. The village held a meeting. Before something worse happened, they moved haying to a new field, smaller but quieter, without visitors. After that, nothing strange, said Uncle Vitya. And here we are. There's the cabin. I looked up dot comma just beyond the trees, a tiny, crooked hut. Then he said, "Couple months ago, I saw something here." "What?" I asked. He paused, lit a cigarette, and whispered, "I saw myself. Just standing there, staring back at me, grinning, waving like it wanted me to follow." "What did you do?" I asked. He looked at me. I walked away. The cabin was dark, thick log walls, no windows, only 2 bunks. I passed out fast, but woke up to footsteps outside. "Who's walking out there?" I thought, annoyed, but Uncle Vidya was awake. He sat by the kerosene lamp, finger to lips. "Don't move," he mouthed. I wasn't scared yet. Probably a bear, I figured. Smelled the food, but the cabin was strong. We had rifles, and the door was thick as hell. Then silence. Someone circled the cabin. Then more silence. Then a knock, slow, deliberate. My heart raced, thumping like a drum. Uncle Vitya stayed calm. "Who's there?" he called. No answer, just scratching, pushing. Then a voice. "Kind people, let me in." Dry, cracked, just need water and the road. No water. "Don't know the road. Go away," said Vitya. More banging, comma more. "Let me in." I nearly cried. "Uncle, what is this?" He pointed at the floor gap. No feet, no shadow. I leaned down, looked through the gap. Nothing, but something was shoving the door and whispering, "Let me in." My throat closed, head pounding, door shaking, words repeating, over and over. "Let me in." I blacked out. I came to at sunrise. Uncle Vitya sat by the open door, hands shaking, chain smoking, eyes wide. He said it lasted till dawn, then it just stopped. We packed up, left fast, didn't speak, didn't look back. I never went that deep into the taiga again, but one question stayed. What was that thing? And what if we had opened the door? The village is gone now. Some moved to cities. Aunt Galia died of natural causes. But before that, 2 people disappeared without a trace. Maybe they opened the door. Maybe they didn't. No one knows. And no one asks. Because out there in the deep woods, some doors should stay shut. And that's it. If you liked this story, let me know in the comments. And if you've ever had a strange, chilling experience, I want to hear it. Drop your own story below.